Hello guys, and a warm welcome into Sit Still Look Pretty by yours truly. I can't believe that after 7 months, I'm back in the studio. This is coming right from the studio, freshly recorded to you guys. So for those of you who are like, what is going on? Why is she talking about 7 months? If you're not on my social media page, then for the last 7 months, Priyanka has been away from home, so it feels so good to be back and to be recording a fresh episode for you guys in the studio all by myself, because this is a solo special episode going out on Sit Still Look Pretty. For those of you guys who don't know, every year, Priya and I, we told ourselves that we will always ensure that there's 2 solo episodes that goes out. So last year, we did 2 solo episodes, and this year we're doing 2 solo episodes as well. So the solo episode, mainly, we try to give y'all like the perspective of getting to know Priya as a person, and like myself, like getting close and personal with me. I'm starting off this month with my solo special episode first. Of course, all episodes were pre-recorded for you guys before I flew off, and I really hope you guys enjoyed like the content that was spread out for y'all. And I also want to take this time to say hello, and I love you guys so much, to all the new followers and like new people like listening to Sit Still Look Pretty. I really feel like in this episode, I definitely want to take the first few minutes to thank all the new followers, all of you guys who have started to listen to Sit Still Look Pretty. I feel like the biggest reach that has truly been going out lately for us has been TikTok inviting a lot more people to like download and stream Sit Still Look Pretty on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. We are doing so well, and I have to say that that's only because of you guys. It still always makes me feel so glowy on the inside and the outside every time like Priya and I get DMs, get messages, get like there were like lately we seem to have even like I guess our business account for email has also taken another toll for y'all to reach out to us and say like we are doing amazing, y'all love the episode. There has been so many suggestions on like topics as well. So I just want to take this time to say that we are ever so grateful. I think every content creator is going to say this, but that's really the reality, whereby there's so much of time and like effort and money invested behind what we do. So I truly feel like the greatest sense of accomplishment really comes back to us when you guys tell us that you'll enjoy this episode, you'll take the time of your day to not only listen to us, but to write to us and tell us how much you all have been enjoying Sit Still Look Pretty. To be very honest, I was really afraid when Priya and I were pre-recording like 6 episodes before I left overseas, because it was like a hindsight that like me and her had to do of like, okay, what are like the possible topics that we should be talking about for like 2023. And I think the greatest satisfaction is to have learned that you guys enjoyed the episodes and like enjoyed the guest speakers on board. I'm finally back, and I'm definitely a part of me as I'm recording this solo episode. I am missing my partner in crime, Priya, so much, because no matter what, it always hits for me when it's me and her sitting down and recording and having fun with each other. But hopefully you guys still enjoy this solo episode. So for this episode, I am very excited to be introducing the topic to you guys, which is in your skin. We are going to be discussing some of the insecurities that we have while we are growing up. And I'm very excited to also take this opportunity to share with you guys some of the insecurities that I've been dealing with, or I continue to deal with, to be very honest. And I guess this episode is also gonna be a little bit of sharing session on how life has been for the past 7 months almost away from home. I spent like the first half of 2023 in a completely different country with no expectations or whatsoever on like what is about to come. So for those of you who don't know, I was away for like the first half of the year because I was on a mission. I was attached by my school. Thank you once again, OEP, NTU. Shout out to you guys for attaching me with like a wonderful startup company in Berlin that I was working in. And I had a blast of a good time working, learning, growing as a person, dealing with my insecurities, being alone. I was in Berlin and it's in Germany, so all day, every day, people be speaking in German. Not really, because Berlin is vastly international. Of course, like if you were to speak English, not say people look at you and be like, "What are you talking?" There was, to that aspect at least, I can't say that there was a language barrier, but there definitely like there were some issues like how major train announcements and like if the train is not working, they'd be saying that in German, and I'd be like, what is going on? When you go to the supermarket and you want to buy something and you're like, what is that packaging saying? So it has been a ride, guys. It has truly been a ride. I know ever since I came back, usually on my own personal Instagram, I always do like a catch-up session and things like that. So I know the last catch-up session that I did on my personal Instagram has been quite some time back. So it's okay. I have a podcast for a reason. I'm going to be spilling the greatest tea. So I'm going to kick off this month's episode by firstly discussing what are some of my biggest insecurities. I have broken it down into like a number of them that I'm going to be opening up and sharing with you guys. And of course, during my time away, I truly do feel like it was like the best of time to be working on these insecurities. And I would like to say that to a certain degree, I'm really glad, like a part of me definitely is glowing to be back home. Especially because I feel like I had a very good period of my life to have worked on these insecurities, to have gotten the opportunity to force myself to work on some of my insecurities. But basically, when I say in your skin, I'm talking about being authentically yourself, being uncomfortable with yourself, recognizing that these are your insecurities and like dealing with them. So for me, I definitely got the opportunity in the last 7 months at least to recognize them, to acknowledge them, and to try to work around them. So before I dive deep into all of these things, I definitely want to give y'all a little bit of insight into how the last 7 months has been a chapter of my life that I don't think, if I'm ever put in a stage of coma, I'm very, very sure that Priyanka shall never forget the sequence of events that happened in the last 7 months of her life. It has been epic. It has been a freaking fever dream for me, for sure. A lot of you guys might not know this, but I am exposing myself by letting you all know that only my very close-knit group of friends actually knew this. I was extremely reluctant to take the opportunity and to fly off for like half of the year, to be very, very honest. It was a very tedious process of like interviewing, being shortlisted, like being selected by the company that I was going to work with, and then trying to make my choice on like, okay, which role do I want to take up and all these things. So after I finished all those things and I was given the offer letter, I was like, maybe not. I can still remember who I called the moment that I got my offer letter. Jacinta, if you're listening to this, I am eternally grateful for you at 3 a.m. shouting on the phone and be like, are you stupid? Go for it. What do you mean? I think this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, and I definitely want to talk about. Many a times when we are working towards something, we don't realize like what are we exactly working towards until like everything is confirmed and like you have reached the end of the mark and you are like, shit, no, like this is not what I want for myself. That was what happened pretty much with this whole thing that I was going. Of course, you know, I feel like everybody likes to say that like, oh, I lived my life overseas abroad for like 1 year, or like I'm moving cities. I'm like a big girl, city girl. Like these are things that we all like to flaunt about. Like going overseas is something to get excited about. All these things for sure. Did I feel it at the start, the very, very start? I did. my insecurity, one of them is to not have my loved one next to me is something that I always find it very, very scary. To be very honest, I've always been someone who would never do things against the wishes of my family and my friends. Their approval throughout my life has always been very, very important to me. It is so important that if I'm working on something, even if it's like my passion project, and let's say my best friend is not in approval of it, or like my someone in my family, my mom is not in approval of it, it will affect me, and I will even go to the extent of not doing it, because to me is if they don't approve it, then I don't want to associate myself with like that particular thing. Of course, to a certain degree, it's a very good quality to have. I mean, the quality of not making people around you upset is an amazing quality to have. But same time, I feel like personally for myself, has there been things that I wished I did not listen? I wish I was a little stubborn about to ensure that it went my way. Yes. So in that aspect, of course, going abroad to not have like my closest friends, my family all next to me, and Berlin to Singapore is a 6 hours of a time difference. It might sound like, okay, that is not really much, 6 hours, but like, honey, when I am going to bed is when people here at home will be waking up. And like once I end work, for an example, like after a long day of work and I just want to get like to talk to someone about like how, how shitty today was, it will be about like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Singapore time. And like, everybody are working adults. So like mostly my friends and my family, like they usually go to sleep by then. I kind of knew what I was signing myself up for. Hence like the entire hesitancy and everything when the opportunity came. But of course, right, like it's a huge opportunity. And after going through like such like a strenuous process, it would be extremely dumb to like also let go of this opportunity. And also another insecurity that I definitely want to admit at this point of time, I know to the best of my effort, I always keep my Instagram and my social media page on a very high note, on a very positive kind of a level, because that's what I want people to like go away with when they're looking at my profile or watching my stories. But of course, like everybody has things that we don't really talk about. And for me, basically, I would just I'm not going to go deep dive into it, but it has been 2022 was a very, very tough year personally for me. And I would even say like for my family back at home. So there were a lot of things that were like going back at home itself for us. And like for me, I also had like my own issues that were going on and things like that. So during like such a unstable period to be like, okay, I'm going to pack my bag and like leave in a few months was like a lot to process. At the same time, a different part of my brain did know that like, Priyanka, you need this. You need this component of your life where you have to detach and you have to move so that you realign yourself. Because I want to be honest and say like, I was actually losing a certain part of myself. I wasn't exactly thriving. I did feel like something in me is not working out. I need to get like a fresh breath of air. I need to move. I need to reevaluate everything that is going on in my life. Of course, I understand that it's a privilege to be able to travel and to figure things out, and this might not be the case for everybody. So in that aspect, I was like, okay, let's go. But of course, now comes the reality. Upon landing and everything like that, I think it took me close to like 1 month-ish to come to the terms of reality, because to be very honest, to everybody who has been asking, I did not cry at the airport when I said goodbye to my friends and family. Instead, my family was, according to my friends, my family were all crying at the airport, by the way. But your girl, she didn't cry. She was bold. She was strong. I was flying alone, by the way. So I was pretty like, like I kind of like braved myself through everything already. I was okay until I landed also. I was still fine. I didn't really, very honestly, have like a very huge culture shock upon landing on everything because the year before also I traveled for my summer school. So that was my first time in Europe. This year marked my second time around Europe. So there was no room of like exactly like culture shock, more of like weather shock because this is my first time dealing with the winter season in Europe. So completely no knowledge on like what to prepare myself. So it's like one of my like biggest like what is going on was when I landed and it was 3 p.m. and the sky was dark and I was like, hold up, like I know they said that winter season has like short like daylight hours, but we didn't expect it to be so short as like 3 p.m. Like the streets was getting dark, it was miserably cold, there was no one on the street, and I was like, what? I just landed, like there's no one with me. I don't know what to do. Like I had 3 big luggages and 2 small luggages that I was dragging around in the big city, and I was like, this is not it. I'm gonna cry very soon, but I didn't. So I put through, I would say, for like fast forward, I just want you to know like the first few weeks in the city was fine. I was trying to grasp my head around the fact that, okay, I'm alone. This is the weather. This is how cold, miserably cold it's going to be. I'm an island. I'm coming from like my sunny side, Singapore. Like everything was just like a huge shock to me in terms of like the weather, the coldness and things like that. Everything was sailing fast. My first mental breakdown of like, I don't think I can do this anymore was literally 1 day before my birthday. I can still remember I had like a very sweet gesture of one of my friends sending me flowers to my apartment. One of my friends in my apartment texted me. She was like, you have a little like gift to come back home to after work today. And then I knew that like shit, someone sent me something for my birthday. It's how like I think I kind of like just kept pressing down the feeling of like feeling insecure in a country all alone by myself, and I couldn't press it down anymore during my birthday season. That was just the moment where I just broke. I was pretty proud of myself for holding so strong, and I remember I cried at work. And then there were people all comforting me at work and being like, okay, what is going on with this girl right now? From then onwards, I have to admit that reality started to kick in very, very quickly. I found myself sitting down and eating a meal all by myself because, like I said, there's a time difference and things like that. So definitely like after all the calls were made from home and my friends all wishing me happy birthday and all those things were over, I was out eating lunch by myself, and I was like, this is awful. This is miserable. I was like, why did I do this to myself? Like, why did I like bring myself to another country and like not have, because I also want to put it out at this point that going for exchange and going for internship is 2 vastly different things. And I wish someone educated me about these 2 things. When I went for my summer school, the experience was entirely different. And now when I go for my internship again, the experience is entirely different. I think the good thing about exchange is that you're meeting people of your age. You're having tons of opportunities to like play games and make friends. Versus when you're going for internship, of course, this is work. It is serious. You're going down there for a serious mission. It is not to make a fool out of yourself and to technically have like a while of a time. So in that aspect, you don't really have opportunities to meet people of your age. And you're not going to be coming back home to like faces of like example, like your dorm mate or whatsoever. I stayed in an apartment by myself. Of course, there's apartment mates, but it always goes on to the degree of like how much of yourself do you want to put out to get to know people. And for people who know me very well, you guys will know that I'm an introvert, and putting myself out there and get to know people and things like that, it is not in my area of things that I love or I look out for when I go anywhere. I am completely fine in being by myself. myself, but I'm not fine if you are putting me out there and say that like you have to go and make friends, because if you don't make friends, you are alone by yourself for the next 6 months. At the start, I would want to admit that I was very adamant. I was like, me, myself, and I is good enough. I do not need anybody in my life. Months passed and the reality started to roll in. I started to realize that, okay, honey, Priyanka, if you're going to be like a me, myself, and I and a champion of like that, things are not going to exactly work out for you, because as much as I'm a person who is like, I can do things all by myself, I do not need like somebody else. At one point of time, when you are in a foreign country, you are going to have someone at least for emergency purposes. I think I can go into like hours of talking about some of the craziest things that has happened during the time I was away, and it was like for emergency I had to call people and things like that. And sometimes during emergency, when you're calling back home, people are not going to be picking up because, like I said, they might either be sleeping or they are outside. That's when I slowly started to learn that I can't be this person who is like, I want to be by myself. I don't need anybody. I'm not going to put myself out there and things like that. Of course, like that is a part of my personality of being an introvert. But I had to force myself and be like, to a certain degree, you have to push yourself to get to know people if you are interested. In like, if you meet someone and they are nice, maybe instead of just saying, okay, hi and bye, you could prolong the conversation a little. So again, I just want to emphasize that I didn't do that with like everybody who I meet, because that's not who I am. And like as an introvert, I do not thrive off that kind of a thing. But I think I definitely did stretch myself to a certain degree. And that's how I feel like I also had like a really good opportunity to meet a few souls abroad who really, really, I am so thankful to like this few of them that I met abroad, because I truly feel like without them, it would have been times 3 harder for me to have like sailed through the last 7 months for sure. A big shout out to like my apartment mate, and then my apartment mate introducing me to her group of friends, and I am mighty proud of myself to have like at least convinced myself to take like a baby step. At work also, like I feel like I was truly very lucky to be placed under bosses who were very welcoming, one thing, and two is people who helped me to grow. I know that I was there for a mission, right? But to literally be there and to be encouraged every step of the way that, okay, what you're doing is right, like you are literally sailing in the right direction, was very important to me. And I'm so glad that I had that affirmation, I had that guidance throughout like work. And to have been away for 7 months and like to come back again, and I know like it has been 2 consecutive years of like flying back and forth, and like people are like have started to ask me, so what is the plan for next year? Stay tuned is all I can say, because I should be graduating and the world will be my oyster again. Okay, but jokes aside, right, I want to say that every point of my life, you guys think that I'm planning and like I'm shifting it in like the right direction. Just so you all know, nothing that I've been planning has been going accordingly to plan in the last like 3 years at least. So I'm just, at this point, I'm just charmed by how the universe like treats my life as like a playground at this point. But jokes aside, I'm really grateful to God for like all the opportunities and all the time spent away. And now that I am back, is definitely a very good time for me personally to like reevaluate like from here forth, where am I headed to. I'm definitely excited to be back to take on like a fresh new semester. It's my last year in the university. I'm so close to finishing my studies, but at the moment, definitely there's a lot of learning points or like learning that I came back with. And I definitely want to emphasize this on the podcast, because I know like there has been a lot of times whereby people always tell me that, oh, it's so like when I'm uploading pictures and videos on Instagram, it's like, oh my God, like she gets to like fly everywhere. Like sometimes people are taking up overseas opportunities because it's like, I want to travel the world. You know, it's always this notion of like, I am happier when I'm away from home. These kind of thoughts that like we seem to fantasize and have about. I wished someone told me this earlier, so I'm going to put this out on Sit Still Look Pretty because I don't want people to make the same mistake as me. Flying overseas is never going to solve any of your problems, number one. Number two, staying by yourself like for a long period of time in a country will honestly give you the worst reality check of your life. And especially if you're stranded all by yourself, to fend for yourself, to cook for yourself, to show up for yourself, to ensure that, you know, you get your responsibilities done. Of course, going for a vacation is vastly different. So I just want to say that people who are very much these days considering of like moving abroad, working abroad, studying abroad, these are very cool opportunities, and I'm never going to say that they are not because it opens like a whole new perspective. But just be careful over the fact that as soon as it starts, the reality starts, in the sense of like you are going to be coming back home to an empty apartment all to yourself. You're going to have to take care of yourself in a way that you have never truly taken care of yourself, because no one, literally no one, is going to be there helping you through things. If you want to start things fresh, for sure you're going to be starting things fresh over there because everything is going to be new to you. So this is something that I definitely want to put out on this podcast and say that instead of just fantasizing on travel, these are some things that I feel like you guys should keep in mind when you all are planning to study abroad, work abroad, or things like that. Of course, and I've also learned that working abroad, studying abroad, traveling like for a purpose abroad, it's not going to be a cup of tea for everybody. It's either it works for you or it doesn't work for you. So you got to figure out on which side of the spectrum you are kind of leaning towards. So with that, I want to wrap up on some of the insecurities that I have faced so far and how I have dealt with them thus far and how it truly feels to be back home. I'm really, really happy to be back home, to be reunited with the people that I love. I have no goddamn idea where next year's gonna lead me to, but definitely for the time being, I just want you all to know that I'm very happy to be not living out of a luggage bag, because it is tiring and it can be extremely exhausting to pack and unpack and pack and unpack and pack and unpack. That's how it has been going for the last 7 months. I do not wish to pack and unpack for the next 6 months at least. So I'm staying here for at least the rest of 2023 before 2024 spends and comes, and I kind of have to figure out where things are going from there forth. Now that I've shed my fair share of tea and we have caught up on all the good essence on what has been up for the last 6 to 7 months, let's talk to our guest speaker. We have a very, very special guest speaker with us here today. I am extremely thrilled and excited to be interviewing her. She's a content creator of which I feel like all of you guys would have at least seen her face pop up on your For You page at least once. It is truly my pleasure to be interviewing her today. So guys, I would like to officially welcome Rishita on board So It Still Look Pretty. Welcome to the studio, Rishita. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling okay. I'm quite nervous.
It's our pleasure to have you here, and I hope you have fun with all the questions that we have
Thank you. It's
for
my
you.
pleasure to be here as well. Thank you for the invite.
So this episode's main focus is titled by like In Your Skin. So we're going to be addressing like insecurities that like people deal with like growing up or even now, like what we go through sometimes. In that aspect, I want to ask you like growing up, if someone was to ask you what was your biggest insecurity back then, what would it be?
I think ever since I was a child, I think my biggest insecurity is the way I look.
Okay.
Okay. and also my intelligence. I think these two are my biggest insecurity. I come from a bit more of a conservative, staunch family. Wouldn't say conservative, like more like strict. So like they would want me to excel in everything. So when I didn't like excel in my education, or didn't excel in a particular field, my dad especially would like push me to work harder or push me to excel. So I think that ingrained in me that, oh, for me, I have to be better. Like I have to like work harder, whatever field I'm in. So that has become an insecurity. Like if I don't push all the way, if I don't achieve the goal I want, I will get very insecure. And another thing is my physical appearance, because I think growing up I've always been like nerdy looking, and then recently also I've gained a lot of weight. And even when I was a teenager, even though my BMI was healthy and I was in the like 21 BMI or 20, I was still not, I wouldn't say that I was Singapore standards of beauty, because for them it's more slimmer the better. So when I wasn't super slim, like even though I was healthy and I was in a good BMI, people would still ask me to lose weight. And people would still like be like, oh, if you were skinnier, you would look better and stuff. And I also grew up having a bigger chest compared to my friends and classmates. Even though my BMI is healthy at that time, I would still like look a bit chubbier compared to my friends. So everyone would like, ask me. I can't wear the same clothes my friends would wear. Like I can't wear the like tight fitting clothes, or at that time. Yeah. So I couldn't wear tight fitting clothes, or I couldn't wear anything that showed my body. Also because I was a bit more curvier, because they would, even though I was 14 or 15, they would still correlate to being sexualized. So even though I just want to like exist, my friends were able to exist, but I was not.
I have to tell you that was really well said. And I think a lot of us, like what you just mentioned is something that like I feel a lot of people out there would be able to relate. Like even for myself personally, if like some of the things that I grew up feeling extremely insecure about was weight also. Like what you say, I feel like I was also back then like chubbier and things like that. When I was also younger, like my chest area was one of those like the first thing that I felt like very insecure about, because before my friends like, slowly developed, like I was one of the first. So it was like, oh, like why is she wearing like a bra so fast? These are things that we hear. And people like family and friends, these are people that we hold very close to our hearts, right? So what they say is always going to matter a lot to us. So in that aspect also, like growing up for myself personally, like not just for me, I feel like I shouldn't just speak for myself. I feel like a lot of people out there, like we put ourselves through like weight loss journey or taking pills that are not even healthy sometimes. And things like body positivity is so nice to see, like people talking a lot about it. Like you yourself, I know like your TikTok page and everything, like promoting like your weight loss journey and putting it out there for people to see. Like I can imagine like how scary it will also feel on the inside, because you're putting out to like people to like give comments about it and everything. So I'm definitely going to touch on that.
Sure.
But before that, I'm very curious about your content creation journey. So what inspired you? I know at one point, like everyone was like jumping on TikTok for sure. But everyone also tries content creation also, but only a few make it. And I definitely feel like you made it. You have like a online audience for yourself, people who always watch your videos and everything. So I want to ask you, what inspired you to even start content creation, or how did it even start?
After I graduated, I worked for a few years. I also like at the side started a startup with a few other people, and I felt like it would be easier for me to promote the startup if I had an online personality as well. So that's the main reason why I joined TikTok. And I'm a very analytical person, so when I joined TikTok also, I kept analyzing, what kind of content will do well, what kind of niche. Like my motivation is just do well. That was the main thing. And I got in. So I analyzed the content, and as I saw growth on TikTok, I feel like okay, not just my startup, but also the TikTok can be a secondary option for me when it comes to income, like side hustle. So I continue growing it. in a very analytical perspective. When I started off earlier, I tried various type of content. So I tried like just talking in front of a camera, beauty content, then I did like skits, and then I started doing ghost content. So the ghost content is the one that pushed me in the front. But then as I grew, I realized that, ghost content alone can't earn you income at the side. So now I'm exploring other type of content as well.
Another question that I have for you is, you did say that you liked like the horror content that like you were posting, right? How did your interest in like horror content first start? Because I know it's a very niche thing, but you definitely like nail it. Like it's very nice to see like how you bring the stories. So how do you develop the interest? How do you script those content for yourself?
Since young, I used to like dare myself to watch horror movies because I love adrenaline, anything with adrenaline rush. So like I would watch horror movies, go to ghost houses for fun. And so it's like, because I'm a very big skeptic, so like watching these kind of horror movies or listening to horror stories is fun for me because I don't actually believe in it that much personally.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just fun. It's like, oh, okay, people believe in it. It's like just mythology or stories for me. Like I love hearing stories, not just horror, but like all kinds, like mythology, different religions. So when I came onto TikTok, I saw that the space for it was very less. Like there were only like 1 or 2 creators who were doing it, but they were mostly sharing their own personal horror incidents. So I was like, okay, there's space for it. Let me just give it a try. So I just started doing murder stories first, like the curry murder and the ritual murders in Singapore. Then slowly, I started going into horror content as well.
Okay.
So yeah, and I realized that was picking up way more than my other type of content. So I stick to it for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has any incidences ever spooked you?
Okay, so when I did Tigil Tales, it's a web series with MediaCorp. We actually were put into situations where we have to call the ghosts or like because I'm a skeptic and my co-host Ravi G is more of like a believer.
Okay.
So he believes it, and I'm the one who's supposed to question it. So I'm the one who have to incite the ghost to come. So like I was left in. There was a first incident that like kind of like, okay, maybe there might be, was the Ouija board incident where me and Ravi G were playing a Ouija board at like around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. at this at this like haunted area, so-called haunted area at near Sembawang. It's like a haunted beach. So we called the ghost 3-4 times and then it didn't come. But then we call again, it started moving. The coin started moving. And then I was also quite unprepared when I went there. So I started asking stupid questions like, oh, do you find us cute?
Of course, that's a very important question.
Yeah. And then do you like us and stuff? And apparently that triggered the ghost. I mean, initially it started moving. Like it told us its age. It told us its sex. It told us its when it died. And a race also. It told us its race also. But when we started asking these questions, right, it didn't move. Like it just like lost like that. Then after that, we wanted to end the game, but the ghost didn't want to end the game. The ghost, like, because in order to remove our fingers or close the Ouija board, the ghost has to go to the end, like should end the game. But it didn't want to. And then I felt like someone was pressing onto my shoulders. And then like a bunch of coconuts started falling out of nowhere. The waves started getting stronger. Then like, thank God there was like in Tamil it's called Pujari. I think in English it's like
a priest.
Priest, yeah. She was there to like stop the ghost from doing anything. So she like forcefully exited the game using prayers and stuff. So at that moment, I believed it. But then, yeah, as the skeptic in me, went back home, started Googling some things. So now I don't know if it's true or it's just my mind.
To be very honest, I think if I was put in your position, I'll be like, goodbye, I'm out. Like, I'm someone who gets spooked out very easily, but I also enjoy like watching. But since you brought up like Tiggle Tales is definitely something that I want to talk to you about. So it's a series that you worked on in 6 episodes, right? Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, I'm very sure like content creation versus like being in front of like the huge camera with a production crew, it's very, very different. How did it work out for you? Would you consider if there's a season 2, will you go back?
Yeah, it was fun for me. It was everyone was super nice. All the crew members made sure I was comfortable and didn't like push me if I didn't want to do something. So they were really nice. And at first I was like, I still had struggling with body image, so I was still scared to come on camera because I would look very different than how I would look on TikTok. So TikTok, you still have a control on how you look, right? But I started to like, it's okay, whatever, you know, you're getting an opportunity, why throw it away because of how you feel, the way you look. So I still went in, but really they really made me feel, you know, like at home. They helped me out, even though it's a ghost show series, right? I still felt like, I enjoyed it because of the people. And Ravi G was a great co-host as well.
That's nice.
He really he was super nice. In fact, I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity if it's not for him, because like the first time I met him was because he wanted me to say a ghost story in Tamil in Oli. And then slowly from there, we started doing ventures together for Oli's TikTok page, because his podcast was called Tiggle Tales. So we started doing ventures on TikTok. And then that's when they wanted to, because it was doing well on TikTok, they wanted to make it into a show. So yeah.
I know the program rated like very well, and like a lot of people enjoyed it, and like people were seriously spooked out by like certain episodes.
That's good to hear.
To be very honest with you, I wanted to go and watch, and then I saw one of the comments saying, if you're not bold enough to watch this series because it can get scary, I was like, maybe I should watch it in like under daylight. Now to move into a bit more like deeper into like insecurities and things like that, right? I want to ask you, what inspired you to like put out the content publicly and address the fact that, okay, I'm going to lose weight. I want to share like my journey with you guys. I know that body positivity is one component, but like, did you like prepare yourself mentally for like the comments that's going to come and things like that?
The first 2 years, because like I'm used to being on camera, at least for TikTok, I felt more comfortable sharing. Because like if someone comments badly, I can just delete the comment, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, and I didn't, and even when I'm shooting, like for example, the weight loss videos, right? I make sure my body angle also looks flattering. So there is some control to it. But I personally, why I started it was because I wanted to show a realistic journey. So I know for a fact that there are so much of health gurus or like weight loss gurus on TikTok who make it look like it's so easy.
Yeah.
But the reality is not. It's not. It's like people, even now, in fact, I did it for 2-3 weeks and I stopped because I had to go on a trip and I had like a lot of work backlog. So like for a month, I didn't really follow my own fitness journey. So I want to get back, but when I get back, I want to make it honest. And the reason why I put my weight and my size and everything out there is because girls who are watching it, I want them to know that it's okay if you're not achieving your goal very fast. Because my first month, even though I did follow consistently, I lost only like 3 kgs and stuff like. But then like in TikTok, there are health gurus. They are like, oh, you can lose 8 kgs in a week, or you can lose 10 kgs in a month. You just need to do this, do that. But that's not the reality. If you lose so much of weight, you're also losing a lot of nutrients in a short time, and you know you might get weaker. And it's better to lose lesser. But in the long term, it should be a long-term lifestyle change. Because you do crash diet in a month, you will gain back double the weight. And that's what happened to me actually. I did a crash diet back in COVID. So I lost like 15 kgs. And now I'm like 30 kgs up. So it's like times 2. Whatever I lost, I gained times 2 of it. So because of a crash diet, you know. So I feel like this time I wanted to show, like research properly. And also show that this journey is not easy. And it's okay if it's not easy. It should be a lifestyle change and you should be able to enjoy it.
Like what do you say? I think a lot of people like, wow, we are documenting like our fitness journey, or be it like our weight loss journey. Is always like we are trying to show like, I lost this much of weight. People are trying to promote something that is fast, something that is easy, because that's what technically we just want the easy way out, right? To slowly lose and to be consistent on that. And like you were even saying that, okay, when I'm going to post like in a few weeks' time or when you're ready, you're going to be like admitting that, okay, yes, I haven't posted. And I think that, to be very honest with you, personally, I feel like that lacks a lot on social media these days. Now that we have addressed like the weight loss part, I saw you quote something else which I was a bit like I didn't know, and I thought, okay, I want to tap on this part. When you're talking about insecurity, you mentioned weight loss, you also mentioned intelligence. That's something that I definitely wanted to tap on here. What part of intelligence basically makes you feel like I feel a little insecure about this?
As I was growing up, apart from my parents pushing me to be the best, I used to be a very outspoken person when it comes to like social issues. I went to a international school in secondary school, and usually international school is like, it's called JC, everything combined. In my class, it was mostly men, like boys, then girls. So like the girls were just 5 and then the guys were like around 15, 20. So when we had to be in group, whenever I do voice my opinion or like share something about a project, I will always be talked over, or like always be like, oh no, actually nobody cares that much about your opinion. So that always like brewed in this insecurity, like, oh, am I not that smart, or is my opinion not valuable? So that definitely added to my insecurity.
If anything at all, I feel like there's tons of people like listening or like wanting to listen to like what you have to say about certain issues now. So I definitely feel like that's something to be proud of. And, you know, I personally wish you all the best in this journey. So before we wrap it up, I want to ask you, do you have like a piece of advice for those who are interested to come into content creation, but then they don't know where to start or they are too shy of the camera? Like, what is your piece of advice for them?
So I think analytically, you can try doing trends, or maybe try multiple niches, like they're fashion, lifestyle, or you can even talk in front of the camera. Try something, like try all the niches and then see which is working for you, and then like stick to it for a while. Personal point of view is like, in the end, you should be more raw yourself, more realistic, because even if you try to be someone else, like you can try to shadow these trends or shadow people, but you cannot be them. So you need to be yourself and like find your own voice. That's when you can grow.
The last question for you is, what's next for Rishita in terms of like content wise or even career wise? Where are you headed to? What can like your followers expect?
I'm looking to go into YouTube. Yeah, so like we already have Tanglish Studios with us. So we our Daisy Paktor show did quite well. We came on Straight Times as well recently. So thanks to my two other founders, three others, Atika, Bobler and Jeevan, thanks to them. And apart from that, we are also looking to add more content into Tanglish Studios. And from my side personally, I'm also looking to do my own personal YouTube, like probably share whatever I'm making on TikTok there, and like I started doing street interviews as well. Yeah, I'm trying to do more new content, see where I can dive into, and yeah, just go with the flow mainly.
Sounds very, very exciting, and I definitely wish you all the best.
Thank you so
think
much.
One of like personally for me, one of the most proudest thing is to see like brown skin content creators like go out there, make waves, and I think you guys appearing on Straight Times, that's like so cool and it's a huge thing.
Thank you so
like
much.
congratulations once again. Alright guys, I hope you all enjoyed my solo episode as much as I did recording this for you guys. The next month, Priya will be doing her solo episode and she will be bringing on board a guest speaker of her interest to talk to. And of course, I have to end this episode with the quote of the month, and that is, putting yourself first is not selfish. I guess for the longest of time, personally for me, I've always refused to put myself first. I think it's a very Asian mentality whereby we are always told to put our family in front of us, to put our friends in front of us, to literally put everybody else in front of us except us, because, you know, it's the mentality to nurture selflessness. I definitely do understand the need to be selfless, but it is never to the extent that you truly forget about yourself. And I think the best thing that I've ever done for myself in the last 7 months, for a fact, is to work on myself. And I truly feel that only when you work on yourself, you can truly be able to help the people around you. When you are broken and you are trying to fix your own mess, how the hell are you going to help other people with their problems who are coming to you, right? So it is never, ever a bad idea to prioritize yourself, to get in touch with your desires, your wants, your goals, and to work towards them. If anything at all, the biggest wisdom that I can ever bring upon myself is the fact that to always help myself first before I can truly help somebody else. With that, I will bring you guys to the end of this episode. It has been a pleasure coming back to the studio, recording an episode for you guys and talking to y'all about a tough topic like in your skin. I truly hope you guys enjoyed the guest speaker sharing. You guys enjoyed my little insights and a little bit of tea spilling on my time in Berlin. Till the next time, this is Priyanka on Sit Still Look Pretty, 'cause girl, you're more than a quick gaze.